Hola, hola, hola a todos, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo están? Acá aparecía. Hola, 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 hola. A ver, vamos a ver qué onda el directo. Yo lo estoy viendo en realidad, o sea, desde el celu. Yo lo voy viendo. Sí, se escucha todo bien. O sea, la música, bueno, ahí va queriendo. Porque no la voy a poner tan al palo. Yo me escucho bien, ok. Listo, vamos a bajar un poco esto. Ahí va. Bueno, gente, acá estamos. El día de hoy vamos a hacer algo re interesante. Esperen que voy a sacar acá 3 segundos. Me tengo que mandar el link del directo para mandárselo a la gente. ¿Cómo andan? ¿Cómo andan? ¿Cómo andan? ¿Cómo andan? El día de hoy voy a estar jugando un jueguito llamado The Stanley Parable o algo así se llama. Es un juego que me regalaron hace poquito. Estoy bastante contento, así que lo voy a probar. Y bueno, nada. Me paso por acá a streameárselos. Escúchenme, no estamos en Twitch, pero igual. Así que nada, si quieren, pueden pasarse a verlo 3 segundos. Y nada. Dame 3 segundos. Bueno, vamos a jugar. Ahora sí, ya estoy. Ya puedo prender todo acá. Pero bánquenme un cachito que... Esperen que estoy adelantando el directo más o menos un poco. Porque va con delay, obviamente. Vamos a hacer una cosa, voy a iniciar el juego. La pantalla está apagada, obviamente. La captura de pantalla para que no se vea nada. Para que no se vea nada de la compu, nada. Ok, ya puse el juego. Seguramente lo van a empezar a escuchar. Esperen que quiero... Y Tuki, ahí está, ahí les prendí la pantalla. Guapa. Creo que ahora sí se ve. A ver, me pide acá el idioma. Vamos a ponerlo acá en español. Más vale que sí, español. Español God. Confirmar. Brillo lo vamos a poner un poco más al palo. A ver y vángame 3 segundos que vamos a sacar la musiquita. Tuki. Y ahí está. Ah, y mi hora actual me pide. Ajá. La hora actual... Ok, las 3:45. Concha de mi hermana. 3 y... Va, 46 creo, a ver. Vamos a esperar que sean las y 46. Vamos a esperar que sean las y 46. Así... Porque no sé si el juego me va a hacer... A ver, el que me lo regaló me dijo que... es un juego que te hace jugar mucho. Ahí está, ahí sí son las 46, confirmar. Y le voy a sacar... ahí está el ruido del directo. Dice, puede acceder a la configuración de accesibilidad del menú principal. Ok. Bueno. Ah, mira, veo las cosas... Como que, mira... Lo que hago acá... Dice, señor Slenderman, chau. No sé quién... Ah, sí, Franplay, seguramente. ¿Cómo andas, Franplay? ¿Todo bien? Yo tengo acá el directo. Lo estoy viendo, en realidad. Porque estoy viendo el chat. Así que... God. Mira, iniciar partida, todo eso. Vamos a la configuración. Quiero ver igual acá esto, los gráficos. Calidad de imagen alta. Lo voy a dejar en alta por ahora. Quiero saber si se ve bien ahí en alta. Ah, ahora sí, el problema es video, el video de acá de mi compu, ¿cómo lo verá el esto? Bueno. Sin bordes. Ventana, pantalla completa. Ahí está. Atrás. Bueno, dice, ¿todo bien y vos? Todo bien, hermanazo. Vamos a jugar. Vamos a jugar, vamos a jugar. No sé de qué trata el juego. Nunca lo jugué en mi vida,
This is the story of a
A ver,
man named Stanley.
yo me quedo callado. Dice que la historia de un hombre llamado
Stanley
Stanley.
worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Bueno.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ah, ¿me puedo mover? Sí, me puedo mover, padre. Bueno, entonces... Ay, ¿puedo seguir tocando acá? Ah, puedo tocar esto. No sé qué estoy tocando. Dice, alto backroom, la oficina, dice. Sí, 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 chaval, un re backroom, boludo. Así que bueno, nada. Por lo que veo, somos un empleadito de oficina.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah. ¿Qué onda las oficinas, boludo? Literalmente parece un backroom, boludo. Da un poco de miedo. No sé.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ok, yo me fui a la izquierda porque decía que fue a la de la izquierda, así que... No sé.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ah, puedo abrir las puertas. Ah, mira. O no puedo abrirlas y yo toqué sin... Ah, sí, sí puedo.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Es corte como que...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
¿Qué pasa si bajo? A ver. Me da un poco de miedo a mí, yo no voy a bajar. Vamos a subir. Mira, un baño. Dice, ser rico es un crimen. Dice... Ajá, no sé, no sé, no sé. Bueno, sí, me encanta, no sé inglés, nos vemos. God. Dice, sí, Valen, qué lástima que no te puedo poner música con la guitarra mientras jugás. Sí, loco, qué bronca. ¿Y acá qué onda?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
284 había dicho, ¿no?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Bien, 2, 8, 4, 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Astrostar, acá venden criptos, XD dice. Se fue la bosta. Acá venden criptos, sí, no puede ser esto que acá me digan que vendo criptos, loco. Son cosas que pasan pocas veces, ¿viste? A ver. No tengo linterna, nada, es raro eso. No sé. Ah, puedo bajar. Voy a bajar tu guía. Me voy a poner esto acá enfrente del celu, mejor dicho, para poder ver bien los comments.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Uy. Tiene que andar raro el ascensor.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Uy, dice escape y te manda para ahí, pero para allá. ¿Qué onda ahí? Yo voy a venir acá.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to him. Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Ah, o sea, literalmente o sea, descubrí un easter egg prácticamente. O sea, básicamente descubrí un easter egg por haberme caído. Ok, no, ahora vamos a tener que volver a empezar. Ay, gente. Es que realmente no sabía que podía quedarme por ahí,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Encima del señor, el señor de fondo no se calla, boludo. No se va a callar, me parece, en toda la partida. Creo que es como un documentador que tenés y no se
When
calla.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Bueno, pero igual, no pasa nada, no pasa nada.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah, por acá no me había metido. Ah, no puedo meter, no, no me voy a meter. Vamos a hacer las cosas bien.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Nah, o sea, fuera de jugar el narrador, se te adelanta todo lo que haces, boludo. Sí, mira, primero con lo de que me caí. Y el chabón sabía que me iba a caer.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated,
ahí está.
Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Sí. Y ahora esto, boludo. Es como que el juego está muy bien hecho. A ver, por ahora me está gustando. Es súper random. Un juego que la verdad a mí no se me hubiese ocurrido en la vida comprar. Pero está bueno, ¿eh? La verdad que no estoy entendiendo nada porque es como un juego que te hace usar la cabeza. Es como que, bueno, no sé, es un juego que, o sea, te hace explotar la cabeza. Pero bueno, vamos a seguir. Quiero ver qué onda. Quiero ver cómo termina el juego porque la verdad ya empezamos y me interesó. Así que nada, vamos a ver qué onda, vamos a ver qué me depara este juego.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Por ahí no me voy a ir. Vamos a volver a irnos por acá y espero no volver a caerme.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ah, mira, puedo ir por acá. Locura. Bien, me voy agachando. Ahí, tuki.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
A la mierda, boludo, una banda de trabajadores había en el cosito.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Bueno. Medio deprimente el narrador.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ajá, sí. ¿Y eso cómo lo hago? ¿Cómo hago para desmantelar? Ah, para. Creo que es por acá, ¿no? Loco, qué raro este juego. O sea... Ah,
And when
y
at
acá...
last he found the source of the room's power,
¿Y qué onda?
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oh, Stanley feliz. ¿Qué onda, Stanley? Me acaban de dar 2 logros. Uno por mi primer logro y otro por terminar el juego. Ay, me mandaron de nuevo al principio. O sea que... tan final no es. Vamos a ver qué onda.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bien. Yo creo que igual el juego tiene muchos finales porque tiene varios logros. Vamos a irnos a la puerta derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
¿Listo? Ahora voy a intentar hacer lo que no dice el chabón.
Following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Voy a hacer todas las cosas que el chabón no me dice. Para romper las bolas nomás, para ver si me dan otro final o algo.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking, this is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Perdón, gente, quería ver cómo iba el directo. Quería ver qué tal se escuchaba. Y a ver qué onda. ¿Qué onda el Stanley? Viste que está bien rebelde el Stanley. Concha de mi hermana, me cae todo.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one.
¿Y esta habitación?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Me cae todo.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Me cago.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Para mí que es un bucle, como dice ahí
Look at
el...
him there, pushing
el brother
buttons,
Fran
doing
Blake.
exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
No voy a oprimir L. Quiero ver qué pasa si no hago lo que él quiere. Me parece que no pasa nada si no aprimo el botón.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
O sea que el narrador es un hijo de puta. Da mucha pena el por
And so
Stanley.
he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Como el nombre del juego, loco.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
A ver qué es esto.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Uy, me asusté. Ah, listo, y me morí simplemente. O sea, fue medio random eso, se me medio turbio. Onda,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ahora vamos a intentar.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vamos a hacer todo como normal, pero vamos a meternos por los lugares donde no deberíamos.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might
Esa
find an
puerta antes
answer
no estaba
there.
cerrada.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vamos a ir por acá entonces.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Ah, me miré
Why
los
did
pies.
doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself
No, ya
soaring
estoy volando,
through
loco.
space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Tranqui.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
En pocas palabras, un drogadicto, boludo.
Stanley had never seen the office this
Bueno,
brightly
a ver,
lit.
esperen, vamos a hacer una cosa, vamos a hacer una cosa. Quiero sacar todos los, así que voy a abrir acá. Quiero sacar todos los finales. Dice... Bien.
Sign of something. He hoped it was. He hoped
Yo quiero
very
esta
much
puerta y
that it
tengo que ir a esta
was.
puerta y tocarla 430 veces, así que...
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the
Así que vamos a
achievement?
hacerlo.
Click
¿Por
a
qué no?
door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause.
Estoy haciendo un doble clic, boludo.
Yes,
Estoy haciendo un
almost
jitter
certainly.
click que no se lo imaginan, boludo.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment.
Ahí saqué el logro de no poder
a willingness to go
saltar.
all the way, no matter what the cost.
Que era
Why
una
don't you go
boludez.
put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Me encanta este juego, la verdad está bastante bueno. O me gusta eso de que juega mucho con tu mentalidad, onda, con el personaje principal, te boludea el juego. Me gusta que el personaje el narrador de fondo sea tan como hijo de puta. No sé cuántos clics vendré. Ni tampoco los puedo contar. No sé, yo voy a quedarme acá todo el directo. Tocando la puerta hasta que me suelten ese logro. Mientras, me parece que voy a ir buscando qué es lo que pasa después del logro. Porque tengo ganas de ver qué onda. Ah, bueno, no sé ya cuánto tiempo voy a estar tocando esta puerta, pero... Pero para, antes que nada... Em, Bien. Dice, aquí está el polvo de ángel que buscaba. Pregunta seria, me dijeron que es acá. Sí, hermano, acá es el polvo de ángel, brother. ¿Cómo va? ¿Cómo andas? ¿Todo bien? Estamos intentando sacar un logro en este juego que es literalmente tocar una puerta 430 veces. Es el logro más ridículo que voy a hacer un juego en mi vida. Encima estoy haciendo un doble clic, o sea, un jitter click que es impresionante. Cosas nunca vistas antes, brother. Voy a destruir mi click, Polo. Voy a destruir mi mouse. Me van a hacer 430 clics mal gastados. Pero bueno, a ver. Vamos a... mientras tanto, como para esto, esperen que vamos a hacer una cosa. Tuki. Voy a poner música. Esperen que seguía tocando, boludo. Y yo estaba sin la pantalla prendida. Tuki. Dice... me gusta el agua. Dice, ¿y qué porongas trata el juego? Y necesito el polvo. Bueno, yo te voy a decir, brother, de qué trata el juego, hermano. Trata de un chabón que trabaja en una oficina. Pero es raro porque como que la computadora siempre le manda órdenes. Y él los hace. Pero un día le dejan de mandar órdenes a la computadora. Entonces como que... tiene que... O sea, como que él sale de la oficina y empieza a buscar a todos los empleados de la oficina y no hay nadie. Entonces, bueno, nada, y se ve que tenés varios finales y yo saqué ya creo que 2 o 3. Y estoy intentando sacar todos. Y estoy intentando también... No sé... ¿Ya se están vendiendo el polvo de ángel, hermano? Qué locura. Voy a dejar la música porque... Porque no sé. No, o sea, a ver, la puerta no sé si se abre, pero se hace para sacar un logro. Yo estoy intentando sacar un logro. Me regalaron este juego hace un día y nada, quiero conseguir todos los logros. O sea, quiero completarlo, por así decirlo. Quiero hacer lo que más pueda del juego. Como en compensación a la persona que me lo regaló. Y no sé cuántas veces vengo tocando esta puerta. Voy a ver, porque no sé cuántas veces vengo tocando la puerta. Qué pesado. Haz clic en la puerta 430 35. Haz clic en la puerta 430 5 veces. No sé si lo estoy haciendo mal o qué onda. Pero la toqué unas 1001 veces. Ahora voy a buscar, vamos a buscarlo en YouTube. Ah, sí, verdad, verdad. Bueno, me mandaban en un momento. Me mandan a tocar otra puerta. Sí, es verdad. Es verdad, pará. Bueno, vamos a buscar la puerta. Era esta, ¿no? ¿Cuál era la puerta? La 4. Ahora vamos a empezar de cero.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ok. Ah, bien, a ver. Dice que no tengo que ver un video de YouTube porque es de corrupto. No, perdón, hermano. Perdón. Es que busco en YouTube porque, claro, tenía que tocar la puerta.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Ok, lo que tengo que hacer al final.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle,
mira, ahora sí.
I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Bien, tengo que ir a la 417. Y cliquearla 20 veces.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Y ahora te quiero en la puerta 437, que era la que tenía recién enfrente. Acá.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
415. Bien.
Now, back to door number 437.
Ya estoy volviendo, estoy volviendo. Me estás puteando, me estás puteando. Ya me están puteando a mí, ya el de fondo, y me caga pedo.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Y copy machine. Sí, ¿dónde está la copy machine? La concha de tu hermana. No, me mandan a tocar la copy machine, que está básicamente... mira, ahí está. La copy machine. Ah, pero no me deja abrir la puerta, mano. Vamos a ver cómo hago para buscar la copy machine. ¿Dónde está la copy machine? Es que es raro porque no hay ninguna máquina de copias acá. A menos que sea ahí. No, no hay ninguna. A ver. Vamos a hacer pausa y vamos a buscar. Vamos a buscar... de Parallel. O sea... Ah, 5 veces. Acá está.
Muy... Feeling it. I want... Go click... Getting some... Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Ah, la fotocopiadora literalmente la tenía enfrente. O sea, qué hijo de puta. Miren esto, gente.
All right, back to room 417.
Bueno,
I'm
bueno,
really
bueno,
feeling it now.
bueno.
I think we're getting somewhere.
Oh, acaba de hablar la... la genia, mira.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
¿Cómo? 419, ¿dónde está eso?
Yes, this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
¿Cómo? Ah, bien, 416, bien, voy. No había leído, estoy desatento.
We've almost got it. Now the copy machine, do that one again.
Ay, me tienen cagando. Voy.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 clicks on door 430. Yes!
¡Vamos!
We did it.
Ahora sí me dieron el logro.
Amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Y yo que estaba spameando clics como un imbécil antes, loco. O sea, le desgasté todos los clics al mouse al pedo. Bien, según yo, bueno, la Hojix. Ahí, bueno, está acá el me gusta el agua que se suscribió. Gracias por tu suscripción, hermano. Te quiero mucho. Gracias por unirte al canal. Y después, bueno, el señor Slenderman acá me estuvo también ayudando con el logro, que me tiraba datos. La puta madre. Tanto tardé como un hijo de puta buscando las puertas. No, y yo que antes pensaba que literalmente era cliquear. Ay, Dios, me tienen como un boludo. A ver, vamos a ver qué onda los logros que me faltan, porque me faltan un montón todavía. Vamos a sacar esto, vamos a poner los logros. Son una boludez los logros, igual son poquitos. Ah, sale del juego y vuelve a empezarlo. Bueno. Eso lo puedo hacer ahora. Ah, y otro logro que mira que es este. No juegues a Stanley Parable durante 10 años. Imposible. Complete Stanley Parable en menos de 4 minutos y 22 segundos sin contar los tiempos de carga. Después hay otro que es literalmente 8. El logro es literalmente 8. Así que bueno, vamos a buscar cómo hacer ese, mi gente. Mi gente, sigan viendo. Vamos a ver. Vamos a ver qué onda. No, ¿quién es Stanley María Sola, boludo? Ahí va. Ah, bueno, ya sé que es el logro. Perfecto, bueno, vamos a seguir sacando los logros y todo. Así que vamos a ver. Gente, como ya saben, gracias por acompañarme. Como siempre, vamos a seguir haciendo estos logros. Vamos a ver qué onda. El logro que tengo que hacer ahora igual es fácil. Es cualquier cosa. Es simplemente tocar 1000 veces el 8 que es en el tablerito de los números.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Bueno, vamos acá.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
Vamos a ir tocando el botón del 8, ¿no? Sí, ahí me dieron el logro. God. Perfecto, ahí me dieron el logro. Y ahora vamos a ver, dice durante todo un martes. Hoy es martes, literalmente, así que supongo que me van a dar el logro hoy, porque estoy jugando durante todo un martes. Pero durante todo un martes, ¿hasta qué hora sería durante todo un martes? Menú de los botones. ¿Qué sería menú de los botones? No sé qué es eso. Bien, me dice acá el... Me gusta el agua. Me dice, ¿y qué otros juegos subes o qué más haces? Bueno, mira, lo que yo hago igual que... Mira, lo que subo yo siempre, que es contenido de juegos, subo reseñas de juegos, subo juegos de pelea, juegos de disparos, muy pocas veces aventura igual, subo un poco de todo. Ahora, por ejemplo, estoy jugando esto, pero porque me pintó grabarlo igual, o sea, hacer un directo, simplemente eso. Pero así como hoy estoy subiendo esto, mañana podría subir un video de Mortal Kombat perfectamente. Así que bueno. Pero bueno, yo subo un poco de contenido de todo.
Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and
Buah, loco, me va a aplatar la
shallow
máquina esta.
life. Farewell, Stanley.
¿Dónde está, boludo? Nos vemos. Uy, yo qué sé.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into
Ay,
the enormous
cambió el
metal
narrador.
jaws.
Ahora es
In a
una
single
narradora.
visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Acá sale el nombre del juego, loco.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Mira qué interesante, loco. La verdad que este juego me parece interesante igual. Perdón que me quede tan callado, es que quiero escuchar también lo que dice el narrador, barra narradora, barra... Es que me parece interesante lo que dice. Es que, no sé, está bastante bueno el juego, la verdad. Es como raro porque no es la primera vez que juego un juego de este estilo. Pero bueno, la idea es que me cope. Y bueno, nada, se los grabo a ustedes porque bueno, igual... también me gustaría que les cope a ustedes o ver también, subir contenido diferente al canal, ver qué onda. Zona de guerra, dice. Ah, mira que te cuentan la historia del juego, o sea, de cómo fue la creación del juego, qué era lo que se tenía pensado hacer. Ah, me parece genial. Qué juego tan genial, loco, ¿eh? Qué loco, loco. Ah, qué loco, loco, escúchame. Ew, muy bien, Sí, la verdad que está bastante bueno el juego. Me gusta porque es algo diferente a lo que siempre se juega o a lo que siempre juego yo. Entonces está bueno también salirme de lo que juego. Así que, muy bueno. Y por cierto, hablando ya de paso que estoy acá en directo comentando. Estoy preparando un video.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Opa.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Opa. Y me morí directamente. Yo no iba a salirme del juego, no tenía ganas. O sea, yo pensé que si no me salía iba a pasar algo más. Pero no, directamente se muere. Vamos a salir al menú, vamos a salir al menú. Y vamos a hacer algo. Tuki. Esto acá lo voy a cerrar. Meter para OBS. Voy a... Bánquenme 3 segundos. Lo que voy a hacer es salir del juego y volver a entrar para que me den el logro. Mángueme, ustedes no me están viendo ni están viendo nada. Y la hora actual son las 4:46. Gracias, hermano, gracias. Gente, ustedes no lo están viendo. No lo han visto. Pero puse la hora del juego que te pide y me salió una banda de texto, tipo, que me decía que gracias por meterme de nuevo al juego, por tomarme mi tiempo de poner la hora. Y no sé qué, no sé qué cuánto. Muy genial, muy genial. La verdad que este juego tiene cada detalle. Y ahí me dieron el logro, gente. No lo están viendo, pero a ver, ahí van que 3 segundos. Voy a meterme al OBS, si es que me deja. Ahí va. Y ahora sí, Tuki. Comparto pantalla. Y acá estamos. Muy bueno, boludo. Ah, y como es, me gusta el agua. Perdón, recién creo que te saludé. O no. Pero bueno, gracias igual por pasarte por el directo. Muy genial de tu parte. Y la verdad que gracias por bancar también. Sí, voy a sacar los logros. Como pueden ver, ya saqué igual una banda. Uy, increíble que esto. Ya saqué 6 de 11 logros. Nada mal. Pero me faltan algunos. Descripción de los logros de prueba. Sustituye esto. Ignora, lo dice. ¿Cómo hago para hacer ese logro, loco? No creo que tenga que ignorar ese logro, ¿no? Creo que no sé si alguno de ustedes también siente lo mismo. Stanley Parable. Sustituye este logro. Vamos a ver cómo sacarlo. ¿Cómo se llama el logro? Aunque me quiero ver. El logro, ignóralo. Ah, ahí va. Vamos a ver cómo sacan los logros. Y ya me empiezan a salir cualquier cosa. Así que bueno, no sé, ese logro lo voy a sacar después, veré.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A ver. Ve a pisar el césped. Ah, sí, bueno, ese no. Configura todas las barras deslizantes del menú en todos los números disponibles. Ah, ok. Complicado. Vamos al menú entonces. Creo que ya lo hice supuestamente. No sé, no me lo da. Y después dice speedrun. Ese no creo hacerlo. Medio complicado. Así que bueno, yo creo que lo voy a dejar por acá igual al juego, me parece. Voy a sacar los logros igual después en privado, jugando solo. Así que nada. Gente que me está viendo el directo, lo está viendo resubido, gracias por quedarse y gracias por verlo. Espero les haya gustado bastante este juego llamado The Stanley Parable. Ultra Deluxe se ve que es la última versión. Y bueno, muchas gracias por quedarse igual. Y nos vemos en algún otro directo, otro video. Como siempre vieron que yo subo video y hago un directo muy de vez en cuando, pero bueno, es lo que toca. Ando muy volado y no sé qué va a hacer últimamente con el canal. Pero bueno, nada. Cualquier cosa díganme en los comentarios que les gustaría que suba, juegue, no sé. Y bueno, ahora sí, nos vemos en otro directo video. Suscríbanse, denle like, comenten. Compartan, activen la campanita para que les lleguen las notificaciones de mis videazos. Y bueno, nos vemos en otro video. Chau chau gente. Voy a ir ya poniéndome acá el OBS. Y ahora sí, nos vemos en un próximo video. Adiós.